Welcome back! I'm Roy with Rugged Badger Racing and Team Parts Badger. This is our Ecotec swap Miata that we race in the ChampCar Endurance Series, and this video is going to be about grid life. Now, if you've been following this, you know we prepared this car for the ChampCar Endurance Series. ChampCar is about endurance racing. ChampCar is pretty much the best game in town when it comes to endurance racing. They race at all of the premier tracks, pretty much every track you can think of from Colorado east. ChampCar has it covered, and they are the best game in town. You have the biggest fields, the best competition, it's fairly economical, and it's really, really great racing with a great group of people. So you might ask, why am I doing grid life? Let me tell you. So one day I was scrolling Facebook and I saw an ad pop up for a grid life event about 20 minutes north of here at Road America coming up. Now I've seen grid life before, I didn't know a lot about it, but this really seemed a little bit different than a normal race. It seemed more like a festival, and they had some DJs, one that I knew the name of, which is Deadmau5. Now I'm not super into music, but I can tell you, it seemed like a lot of fun to go to an event like that. So on a whim, I sent an email, made sure I qualified as a driver, and signed up. Really no rhyme or reason other than convenience. Overall, the price was fairly reasonable, and I figured, what the heck, let's give it a try. Now let's talk about the car itself. What is it gonna take to get this car set up for grid life? How do I turn my ChampCar legal car into something that'll work within the grid life rule set? Now, grid life has a rule set that's based around 12.5 pounds per horsepower. It's a horsepower to weight series that does have some limitations on aerodynamics. You can run a wing, you can run a front splitter, but the front splitter can only be 3 inches in front of the air dam, and there's also limitations on how big your wing can be. I believe it's something in the neighborhood of about 500 square inches for the first wing, maybe 450, and then 700 square inches for a big wing. Now when you add aero, it adds percentage points to your power to weight balance overall. You also get different modifiers based on the engine you have, how you have it tuned, the wheel size you're going to be running, and the tire compound. So for us, we went through the car, we checked over the rule set, and we had to make these changes. Now, first thing that's different is the tires. For ChampCar, we ran the Nankang CRS tire version 2s. We also ran the RS4. Neither of those tires are legal. They have an approved list that you can run, and we decided to run the RT660. Now, if you remember my previous videos, I said the RT660 did not work on a Miata for endurance racing, and this was based on another team that I rented with. We had issues with this middle band right here actually pulling up on the track. So, why am I running RT660s? Well, they're only 15-minute races. We should be able to keep the heat down. We should be able to protect this tire, and I got a lot of feedback from other teams driving BMWs and other cars saying, hey, we get the RT660s to last. So who knows? Let me give it another try, and we'll try to see whether or not these are gonna hold up in this application. Now I talked about my splitter. In ChampCar, we can run a massive splitter. Grid life, it has to be completely flat and only 3 inches out in front of the air dam. So we had to make a new splitter. We also had to put new graphics on the car. Now, where ChampCar, you can just go to, I believe, RVA Graphics and Wraps, and you can get the graphics set shipped to you. For this, we had to find a shop to get these graphics made from their decal kit. They also mentioned they make them at the track, but I did not want to deal with that. So we ended up getting these made, got the graphics on the car. Now, it doesn't really fit the color scheme, but it'll have to do. Now, this series also mandates a rain light. So we added a switch for a rain light, and we added a rain light to the back of the car, which you can see behind our license plate here. So hopefully that rain light, which will also be ChampCar legal, but it's not required in ChampCar, it is required in grid life. Now another interesting rule, they required outside door pulls. So you can see here, we actually added these little pulls here when we lighten the doors to make sure we had an outside door pull. Now I'm not sure if ChampCar actually requires these or not, but we've never really run them before. Nonetheless, I added them for grid life so I don't have trouble with tech. Now with the ChampCar Endurance Series, everything is based on points. You have a 500 point limit. Your car has a base value of points. The engine swap is points. The front suspension is points. We run an AccuSump, that's points. We have an air dam. We have a wing. We have a splitter. All of those are points. And the goal is to make the car as fast and reliable as possible while staying under 500 points overall. They don't necessarily measure horsepower. They don't weigh the car, but you have all these parameters you need to balance. Grid life is a little bit different. With grid life, They're worried about staying within this 12.5 pounds per horsepower, plus or minus modifiers. We get a modifier for the wheels because they're under 16 inches. We get a little bonus, and we get some taken away because we're running a splitter, an air dam, and a wing. Our engine size is 2.4 liters. We get a little bit of credit for that. And then overall that modifies. They look at your horsepower from a dyno, they look at your weight. Now, initially we thought we were gonna be way underpowered or way overweight. We were able to get some weight out of the car. We also had a surprising dyno. I'm not gonna share those details. You can see it in a different video. But this car is actually not gonna be too far off of the Gridlife rule set. The problem is we are points limited on the suspension, and I'm not gonna change out the suspension to put a much more sophisticated and faster suspension in the car. We're gonna deal with the shocks we have. We're gonna deal with the sway bars we have. Things that would be points in ChampCar aren't necessarily counted against you in Gridlife, and we don't necessarily have the car completely optimized. Even if we did have a Miata optimized, I don't believe the Miatas are the most competitive cars for the Gridlife series. It looks like the car to have is maybe a C5 Corvette right now that they detune horsepower-wise down to about 230 horsepower. Those cars seem to perform the best in this particular series. Nonetheless, we're gonna take the car out and hopefully have a lot of fun. Now, what's different between Gridlife and ChampCar is really the race durations. So with ChampCar, we're gonna be running this car at one, maybe two races a weekend. You either have like a 7 or an 8-hour race, and if you have those, you have 2 of them in a weekend, or you're running like a 12, a 14, or up to a 24-hour race. Now with Gridlife, you're gonna run 4 races that last 15 minutes. Much different than what we do in ChampCar. So a lot shorter seat time overall, and it's gonna be a lot more similar to SCCA sprint racing. Now, Gridlife isn't just wheel-to-wheel racing with these cars. This in particular is gonna be racing in Gridlife TC, which is Touring Cup. It's a specific part of the weekend that's set up for wheel-to-wheel racing of these particular cars. Now, they also have something called the Sunday Cup. They have Time Attack, where they have all sorts of different classes for tons of cars that are competing for the best time, not necessarily wheel-to-wheel. They also have HDPEs, drifting events, and a car show. Now, that's all in addition to the musical acts. So Gridlife is very much like a festival. Now, I haven't done it, but I really want to check this out and see how it goes. It definitely seems a lot different than ChampCar. Now with Gridlife, we're talking about 4 15-minute races. There's a practice, there's a qualifying. All in all, I'm gonna have a lot less than 2 hours of track time. And with ChampCar in a single weekend, I usually double stint, meaning I'm racing for 4 hours a day plus the test day. So you're talking 8 hours of race time, maybe 2 hours of test time. I'm getting 10 hours of track time a single weekend with ChampCar. With Gridlife, you're talking less than 2 hours. It's not all bad though. What's nice about it is the amount of prep that's gonna have to go into this car, frankly, isn't that bad. I probably could have pulled this car off the trailer from Autobahn and raced it at Gridlife, assuming it was legal, and done just fine the entire weekend. I don't have to worry about ball joints and bearings and all of these wear items that I have to worry about in an endurance race. For Gridlife, I can just take the car out there and make it happen. If something goes wrong, it blows a 15-minute session. It doesn't blow the weekend like it does in ChampCar. Now for me, I just have to go about half an hour north and I'm at that track. That's not a big deal for me to tow this car up there and get a little bit of track time. I don't know if I'm necessarily gonna wanna tow across the country to race a Gridlife race. There's just not enough track time, and unless everything else is just so much fun, it changes my mind. I don't think I'll be traveling very far for the Gridlife events. Now, overall, there's not a lot I really had to do to this car in order to get it ready for Gridlife. The race is super close. They have a lot of other things to do, and it seemed like a really good time. So you might ask, okay, why are you doing Gridlife? Is this gonna replace ChampCar? Absolutely not. I love ChampCar. Now, endurance racing, when you are sitting in a car and you are racing for 15, 20, 25 minutes, you cannot learn nearly as much as you can learn when you're sitting in that car for 45 minutes, an hour, hour 15, hour and a half, 2 hours. There's so much learning that takes place after those first initial minutes in a car. You start getting settled in, you start hitting your lines, and you can really dial in your racecraft as a driver. So not only can you learn traffic, you can dial in your lines, you can play around with your inputs as a driver and really tune in endurance racing. Now, my racing experience goes back a long time. I have been racing for, 22 years, which is insane, but I started racing when I was 16, parking lot cone racing, autocross. A couple years after that, I moved into wheel-to-wheel SCCA Spec Miata racing. I raced that for a few years. I took a little bit of a break, just running the June sprints from time to time, and I would have to say the very first time I ever did a ChampCar event, I learned more in that first stint of racing than I had in my career prior to that. You learn so much being behind the wheel for an extended period of time, and you really can't get that anywhere else other than endurance racing. Maybe you're gonna rent a track, but with the competition, you really can't beat what ChampCar offers. All of that said, I am excited for Gridlife, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. Especially, let's say you have scheduling problems, right? For Gridlife, I can literally just drive this car to the track and I can race Gridlife and go home. No big deal. For ChampCar, you need a team. It is very difficult to run ChampCar, and you have to have a lot of people, and that's really part of the challenge overall. So I think this will be a fun addition to my overall car ecosystem between the car shows, events like Automotion, to add Gridlife to the mix. I think it's gonna be a great time. Now, I appreciate everybody for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe below. I'm gonna have a lot more content to come. Definitely the Gridlife race. I'll also talk a little bit about how to get set up, and I'll explain my first time going through the process of Gridlife, because it's quite a bit different than racing with other series and what I went through racing with ChampCar or SCCA, for example. Thanks for watching.